Okay, let's do a quick run through here of the lesson for class today. In folder 4B3, that's where we're working, and this is titled Helping and Hurting the Freedmen. The point of this lesson really is to look at the freed African Americans and helping to gain them rights. What did the government do, and how is it limited by the people? Because remember, just because the government passes a law does not mean the people are going to follow it the same way that it's supposed to be followed. To start off, we have a little worksheet here called Helping and Hurting Freedmen. I already have it open, so I'm just going to click right over here. Let's talk about a couple things. So, it gives you some instructions, basically telling you what I said. Here's the way it works in general. In the left, we have the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, and 15th Amendment. These are the three amendments that were the Reconstruction Amendments that are passed to provide specific rights for African Americans to help them to not only get out of slavery, but also to become, I don't want to say equal, but fairly treated, let's say, according to the laws. For each of these, you need to have the full explanation of what they did. Yesterday we talked about them briefly. I want you to have a real clear definition of each today. So the 13th Amendment, which deals with ending slavery. The 14th Amendment, we spoke about the equal protection of the laws. There's another part that's really, really important that's about citizenship, and I want you to make sure you write that down as well. And then the 15th Amendment, which deals with voting. Also, again, I want you to get the specifics on what it says you can't limit voting based upon. Now, the reality is that while those are all passed, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, there are specific things that occurred that limited each of those specific rights they're trying to protect. For instance, with the 13th Amendment, which ends slavery, while it was passed, in the South they decided to pass black codes that severely limited the rights of African Americans. Well, the whole point is they're saying, okay, well, you're going to free them, then we're going to do as much as we can to keep them from being free. Little things, and you'll read about some of these, and you definitely need to, whether it be in the book or online. But for one example, they would say that these freed blacks would have to work certain jobs, or else they could get in trouble if they didn't have a job. Well, I mean, imagine being somebody who just was freed from slavery. Not so easy to get and keep a job. Things about not being able to serve on juries and own guns and things of that nature. There's a website link that I want you to look at, and it has a listing of South Carolina black codes. They're very, very telling when you look at the specifics behind what they're saying. So make sure you get some good research in there, and it will help you for your paper or your poem at the end of this unit. Second, we have the 14th Amendment. As I mentioned, you need to make sure you have both parts of it. The part that we talked about already, which was equal protection, and there's also something about citizenship. Not only make sure that you write it down, make sure you understand it. To go along with that, we have KKK and the terror tactics. You'll see that even though people are getting this equal protection of the laws and they're citizens, well, people are going to do things a little bit illegally. There's one website that you can't access on the iPads, but it has an interactive map that shows all the lynchings that occurred. It's pretty crazy. There's another one on the KKK, and obviously you can research on your own too beyond that, and you can use the textbook because a lot of this stuff is directly included in the textbook as well. Finally, the 15th Amendment, which deals with the right to vote. There is a really cool interactive website again that I don't know if you'll be able to access or not, but it has a lot of good information about the limitations on African Americans and their voting rights. It's really, really crazy to see how even though there's an amendment that says that you should be able to vote, people find ways to get around that with things like poll taxes, literacy tests, and grandfather clauses. So there are a lot of those different things you guys can find. Make sure you finish the front of this. This is super, super, super important. These notes are going to be super important for you to have whenever you go to your next project. Finally, we have mental sweat quotations. So it's not really questions, but it's more about quotes that I want you guys to be looking at. So there are three of them. Read the quote, interpret them, and I want you to think about them a little bit to see what people are saying. And then lastly, we just have a few wrap-up questions here. Get all that done, and I do expect you to have that done for class today. But you can get that done and then you move on. And one little quick thing I want to mention too. Prior to doing all of this work, make sure that you finish up yesterday's work, which was looking at the Reconstruction timeline. There's a video in 4B2 and there's also a quiz. So please make sure you do all of that and get that stuff caught up with today. Alright, good luck, and I hope it's a good day.